talk about working with buyers and sellers and setting expectations. There's two classes that I teach and I kind of squish them together. It's called Get to Close, and it's after closing or after you go under contract, what happens. And these two go kind of hand in hand. We're going to work with these slides today, but some of that other class will come in. Okay. And I'm also just going to ask for your permission to kind of go off script as well. Is that okay? No. You probably have a book and you can study that book or all the online stuff, but our opportunity is to be here today. And so our chance to just talk about personal situations and stories, and that is the power of being here. You can read the book anytime that you want. Okay. So my name is Angie Fischer though. And, so I've been at KW for 9 years. In my past life, I ran a restaurant. I never ever thought that I would sell real estate. To be totally honest, I loved what I did. I worked at the Village Inn. I was their training GM. I loved training people. It was so fun. Oh, was I supposed to say got it? Got it. We're recording. And my husband, he'd always be like, Angie, you should go get your real estate license to save us money. And I was like, because we'd bought and sold a couple houses, and you're thinking, man, that's $10,000. And he'd always be like, you go do it to save some money. And I'm like, you go do it. I'm busy. I work 60 hours a week. You go get your license. So one day he showed up and he'd signed up for school. And I was like, well, hell, if you're going to go to school, maybe I will. So I actually went and signed up for school for fun. Like, we were old school. We went to real estate school like people go to dance classes and pottery classes. It was like date night, like different back then. Monday and Wednesday night, we'd go sit in our class. It wasn't like this online stuff. So it was $500 to sign up for school. And I thought, well, I've wasted more money in Wendover. I might as well just go have some fun. So I was pretty naive and I thought I'd learn how to save money on my taxes by going to real estate school. It's kind of dumb, and it was super interesting. I found like it was kind of interesting, and he got his license, and we were at a little brokerage where we took our in-person classes because that's where we thought you were supposed to go. So he got his license and we were there. We tried to make offers on investment properties. I say we, him, but we kind of do stuff together. And we couldn't get anyone to help us. We couldn't even get them to say hello. Like, we'd walk by and be like, hey, and they would walk right past you, wouldn't even acknowledge your existence. You thought you were a ghost. It was the weirdest thing ever. And we couldn't get any training. I remember sitting there being like, I know how to learn. Like, can you give me a book? Like, if you give us a book, I bet we could learn how to do this. Yeah. Well, needless to say, none of the offers got accepted. And my husband had to go to the state training. When you're a new agent, they're going to make you go to ethics, new agent training and ethics course at UCAR, like state training. Yeah. This is after you get your license. And while he was at that class, he called me, and you have to picture my husband. He's a power line worker, like rough, tough construction worker guy. And he calls me, he's like, Angie, these agents, they're happy. They're talking to each other. They're nice and they're making money. I think we should go talk to the brokerage. I was like, sure. I'd never heard of KW ever. I was just planning to sell them my pies. So like, I literally packed up my pies on a Friday afternoon and come out and plan to just do local store marketing and meet with Johnny at the time. So Johnny is in Shoney's role now. And we were just like, I was like, oh, cool. Maybe you guys will buy some of my pies. I checked it off on the list. And we sat in that meeting though. And you know what I learned in that meeting was that KW was voted number 2 in training companies across industries worldwide. Wow. And what I knew at the restaurant is I could teach anyone to flip eggs or pour coffee. Mm-hmm. But I couldn't teach you to have passion, integrity. I couldn't teach you to hustle. Like, you either had to come as that person that I could teach you how to work, or you didn't. Someone else in your life had to have helped influence that. And I thought, well, if they're going to teach me, I bet I could do this. So I'd already taken the classes, but I didn't go take my test or get my license because I didn't want to waste the money. And it was so clear that night. It was so crazy. We left KW and we went to dinner, and I was like, I think I'm supposed to leave the restaurant. My husband's like, I think you are. And I went to work the next day and I gave my notice and I signed up for Ignite and I signed up for my test and we jumped in, which sounds all exciting. And the next 90 days happened. And this is a super important part. If you've been in any of my classes, and if you haven't already done it, so on Zoom too, I need you guys to pull out your phone and I need you to mark it on the calendar right now, 90 days from when you decide and commit. Okay. Because it all sounds all happy, freaking dory, everything's good. And I remember day 90, which was the last Tuesday in October 2014.
Oh, okay.
And I've been working my guts out. I was used to working a lot, it was no big deal to work 60 hours a week. I worked 5 to 5 days a week. That's what I did. So, but I was doing that here and more and not making any money. I'd had a little bit of success. I had somebody let me list their duplex and I was able to convert one of the sign call leads over to, come on, welcome. How are you guys?
Good.
Good. You're missing an important story. You got to come in.
Fantastic.
One for you. These are your name tags for me. Thank you. And, but I almost need to rewind a little bit. You guys need to pull out your phones. Well, tell me your names. Susie.
Daniel,
Daniel.
Yeah.
And how long have you guys been at KW?
a couple months for me.
And I was in Idaho for almost 2 years.
Awesome. And so how long have you guys had license? A couple years?
I'm getting my license here.
Okay.
The process of that.
Yeah, just a couple months.
Awesome. Sounds good. Well, what I need you guys to do, and maybe even do it from right now. You can do 90 days from right now. You can do 90 days from when you actually get your license, but it's important. I want you to pull up day 90 and mark it, and it will happen to everybody. Because on day 90, I'd been working and working and working, and I swear I had that duplex I told you I listed. I'd made a mistake on it. And I screwed something up on the contract, and the agent on the other side called me and she just ripped me apart. I was just exhausted. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, what did I do? I went and I picked my daughter up from school. And I got home and I walked upstairs and I crawled in bed and pulled the covers up over my head and had a really intense conversation with God. I was like, God, you're the one who told me to come here. Because I had up and quit my job. You told me. You're the one that said this is what I'm supposed to do. Why am I supposed to do this? And I thought for sure, I have to call my boss and get my job back. What did I do? It's so bad. And he doesn't let you sit in it very long, right? He's like, no. About 5 minutes. He's like, will you quit feeling so sorry for yourself and get up and go to work? Just get up and go to work. So I walked downstairs so mad and started calling people, because that's what they tell you to do in this business. Any problem that you have will be solved by calling people. Every time. Doesn't matter what the problem is. Stop doing it and start calling someone. And I promise it'll solve the problem. So I started calling people, all the people, just your friends and your family and all the people we've been working with. No big deal. And the secret in this business, it's not who you call. You will not sell any of those houses. It's the weirdest thing. But by doing that, others will call you. It's the energy of what happens. Might be a little woo-woo, but I can promise you it's so serious. So I start calling people and my phone rings and I get this call, and it's this guy that had shown every stinky property to in Utah County. Like he was an investor, like every gross property. And he calls me, says, Angie, the smokehouse is getting a new roof. Can we go put an offer on it? It was the smokehouse because when we went in, the entire floor was covered in camel stickers from the packs of smokes. It was so gross. It was so gross. It's getting a new roof. Can we make an offer on it? Yeah, we can do that. Another lady called me and she was like, hey, I just saw a condo on KSL. Can we go see it tonight? Like, yeah, we can go see it. A few minutes later, I kid you not, I have a lender call me and says, I have a buyer standing in front of a house right now that's qualified. Will you write an offer for them? And I'd sent this lender several leads during that 90 days that I'd been working on. Oh, okay, sure, I can do that. By the end of that week, we had 5 under contract. And the reason day 90 matters is because on day 90, you will be so tired and so frustrated, and you will want to give up. And when you are crying in the stairwell, you need to hear me in your head say, get up and go call people. That just keep going, because that is the moment when people talk about not staying in the business. It's at that day 90, and that day 90 is. I'll go get them. I just got them out of the printer. You're the best.
You bet.
So, and it's super important because this whole business is on a 90-day cycle. So anytime I have a lull in my business, it's very normal. I want you guys to know. Oh shoot, this is the wrong book. Oh, I have it in my phone. Does anyone know how long, well, we can ask Google. How many days ago was April 3rd? 128 days ago. The reason that I say that is on April 3rd, I had 0 under contract. And just to give perspective, we talked about, I've been here 8 years or 9 years, 9 years this month. 9 years this month.
That's amazing.
So crazy.
She's amazing, by the way, guys.
And I'm gonna come back to, well, we're gonna read. So this was April 3rd, this was written, and it was something that was written for me because I had gotten out of my what is most important. What do you do when we have problems in this business? We call people. Absolutely. Call people. It doesn't matter who you call, just pick up the phone and just start calling people. So on April 3rd this year, I had 0 under contract, full transparency. I was like, I don't know what to do. I have no people. So what do? You call people. I also wrote my affirmation that I read every morning now, and that will lead to what's going on in our business now. So it feels so good to be in the flow and discovering joy on our journey. The most amazing people continue to pour into our lives, supporting and honoring my purpose. And it feels so good to feel my value and see the impact on the lives we make around us. I continue to be amazed as the phone rings, connecting us with the most grateful, kind clients who get excited to tell their friends and family about their experience and how we help them. I'm so full of gratitude knowing I'm living in such a way that people want to do business with us and they want us to help their parents. I'm in the right place at the right time to utilize the gifts that God gave us. And I say that because we have, I think, 13 under contract right now. That was the day, again, 90 days out. I could mark it to the 90th day that we started to put under contract. And we're on day 128, right? So I went from 0 to maybe 4 or 5 weeks ago. We just went bam, one right after another, right after another. And it's because I got very intentional and I got back to calling people. I probably even have in my notebook on that day when this all started. And so it's so fun for me to see that. I just think it's incredible. Yes.
A quick question. When you call people, do you just call to chit chat and check up on them?
Oh, these are my notes from April 3rd. Nita, I left a message. Jackie, I invited to an upcoming class. Chelsea, I left a message about a trailer. Shantae, still looking. She's just gotten a promotion. Adria, I left a message for Richard and Michelle. They asked me to call them back at 3:20. Rebecca Weber, I'm under contract on a buy sell with her now.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
You need to highlight that.
And I haven't even looked back at my notes as to when that started. Andrew Garcia, I invited him to a buyer class. Jessica Marone, I just followed up on a referral with her. Cindy Hall, she's preparing to rent her house out. I contacted somebody on a Facebook lead. Just call, even if it's just, hey, just checking in on you. I sent a thank you note for a referral for Kirsten. I scheduled showings for somebody who still hasn't bought. I've probably shown them for 3 years. It's like Becky Rosendolph. I just called and thanked her for her business. It'd been a year since we closed on one of her transactions. Sonia, I just called and asked how her daughter was doing. Paul, I invited him to breakfast the next day. Jesse and Carly, I just checked to see how they were doing out in Nevada. Lacey, I checked in on her baby. It had been about 30 days since she'd had a baby. Donna Ray, I checked in on her daughter. So it's just like, hey, how's it going? I saw your daughter's in school. How's she doing? That kind of stuff most of the time. It doesn't even matter. It's the act of doing it that will bring stuff in. That's what's so crazy. And I just share that because your 90-day mark is so real. And if you need somebody to talk to on day 90, like, come talk to me. And that cycle will happen over and over. It definitely happens your first time. Just know that everything we do, you won't get paid on. You won't even get something going, like what we do, plan 90 days from now. So it's so fun for me though, to see the actions. And I think I had just gotten into I don't know, I don't want to get into it. We've gone through a lot of transitions over the years. So my first year, so that day 90 happens and we stick with it, right? I don't call my boss. I don't ask for my job back. That first 12 years out of the restaurant, I made within $10 of what I made at the restaurant. And I don't know, talk about financial thermostat, what you need to make it, somehow you make it. And I was super proud of myself at the restaurant. It was like $56,700, which was really good money for someone who barely graduated high school. Like I was really proud of myself. And then the next year in real estate, 2015 was more like 107,000. 2016 was more like 250,000. The next year was more like 350,000. And then we've consistently the last several years, our small team has done more like 750,000. And we went from having one duplex to now I have 2 4plexes, 3 duplexes, and I am closing this week on 2 more townhouses.
It's amazing.
So
I think I would say
just flipped eggs. That's what we did. So that the thing is all of your past lives bring skills to where you're at today. I would have never realized how much my work at the restaurant would make such an impact on how I do business today. And actually, those are so many of the people that I help. I'm very, very passionate about helping blue collar people because there's not anyone teaching them about how money works. No one taught my parents how money works. Like we were able to impact and change their lives when I was like, Mom and Dad, let me teach you about investment properties. My dad spent both of his retirements. He retired from the sheriff's department, wasted it all, gone. It's done. Retired from the National Guard and from the military, gone. They have no money. And there was a time that I had a chance to, he had my grandpa's property. It was about 6 years ago. And he wanted me to sell it. And bless him, I love him, but he can't have large sums of money. And so he was going to sell my grandpa's property. I'm like, I will help you sell it on one condition, as long as you let me invest it. You can't have the money. So we went and sold his property and got 2 of these condos over there. And at the time it was $130,000. They're now both worth like $285,000. And he has cash flow every single month. So every month he gets $2,000. And next month it gets replaced. He had no idea and understanding that they have money. They've more than doubled in value there. And it's an asset that is paying him over and over. And if he were to pass away, that money is still there for my mom. And every month it gets replaced so we can get more guns and knives, like whatever it is, gold. I don't know what he buys. Stuff.
Yeah.
So, and if the world ends, I will find him. He will be my guy. I will be with him. So that just to have some of that background. And I know that has nothing to do with what we're working on, but it really does. You guys are going to experience some really hard times in this business. You'll experience your highest highs and your lowest lows probably within 5 minutes. So we're learning how to regulate your emotions. You'll learn that as you go. And everything you learn in this business, you'll learn from making a mistake. So emotionally, you have to get ready for that. It's just pay attention when you make them, so you only make them once. I think that's just a super important thing. I think one of the most valuable things I did on that first transaction is I was sitting there waiting to get the seller was going to bring me keys for my buyer. I wrote through what did I learn on this transaction and what would I do differently. One of them is not wait until after we sign documents to ask for keys. We should plan ahead. I didn't know that. Like, you're at KW, there's a lot of support systems, but don't just jump in the river and let it take you. Like, be intentional and think, what went well today? What would I do again? What brought me joy? What also brought me like closer to making money? Like, at the end of the day, these are all really good names, but which ones lead me to money? We actually have to get led to money. We have to make some money in this business. And the second commandment on our team is we do what is right because it pays well. Somehow that's just what happens, right? So if we show up and we do what is right, I don't understand it, but money pours into our account. It is absolutely the most amazing blessing. And the more you're able to do that, the more money you will make in this business. So thank you for joining us for working with buyers and sellers. We're going to see if I can do this. You guys that are here a little bit later, I also asked if you guys are okay that we kind of go off script and have the chance to just kind of talk through some of those things. I will try not to do too much split personality, but we may go in and out of character as we think about when we talk to buyers and sellers. It's the best way I can you can still scripts. Now, another thing about this business, what's cool is you guys come to Ignite. It's the top 20% that teaches, and they're all different. And it's amazing because the more authentic you are to yourself, the more successful you will be in this business. And you just need to find another agent that sounds like you or has a voice that you can connect with so that you can use their language, emulate them. And you may or not, I might not be your person. You know who my person was? Clay Winder. Oh my gosh. I could walk behind Clay and listen to him on the phone. And I'd be like, oh, I can say that. I can do that. I can do that. And if you get a chance to take any of Clay's classes, or if you can get them because they're all recorded, his are so good, but most of my scripts have come from Clay. I align with him, but it's so fun because I'm so different than Dan Kennedy. So if you get to be in one of Dan's classes, he is so successful and we are so different. And you might align with the way Dan works through things. He's so good too. That's what's so fun. I love that everyone's so different. Okay, real quick, fiduciary versus functionary. Does anybody want to kind of take a stab at what that is?
Client versus customer.
Oh, I like it. Yeah, it's a door opener, right? Someone is just going to go open up a door, maybe even fill in a contract. Did you know? I did not know this, but in Florida, they are functionary agents that actually says it in the contract. I was like, what the crap? I know I was selling my property out there and I read it and I'm like, you're not my fiduciary. You are a functionary agent. Very, very weird. Basically, though, a fiduciary means that I'm going to work on your behalf. I am going to make sure I have your best interest in mind. This is in our buyer broker agreement and in our exclusive right to sell, that we will be loyal, obedient, give full confidentiality, disclosure, and full disclosure and anything else required by law, like the Boy Scout stuff. And it matters. This is the way we do business. That's what makes us different, right? And so there is a difference. Can we really be a true fiduciary when we are in a limited agent position? Do you guys remember what limited agency is from your classes?
You represent both.
Right? I will be loyal, obedient, give full disclosure, complete confidentiality, and anything else required by law, unless I can make double. What the hell? That's so wrong. That's wrong. I totally think it's wrong, and I could be wrong. But I'm a true believer that is the case. You know, what's interesting is sometimes our broker is going to be in a limited position, or we might take an offer from somebody else out of the KW office, or maybe even from my team, right? But the reality is I totally represent my seller, and there is no question I will always get more money from them if I'm not trying to represent both sides. Every time I've tried to do that, even if I cut commission, no one walks away feeling good. I know that I will negotiate and get more for them. I'm positive I'll keep more money in their account if I'm only representing them every time. So that's my 2 cents on it, but just really think about it. The more you align with that, the more money you will make. 100% of the time. It's so interesting to me. And I think people really appreciate it. So I do refer people out. We just closed one like that. So I was representing a seller in Eagle Mountain, and I had nothing under contract. I'm telling you, it's been a good little bit here. So I represented a seller in Eagle Mountain. Someone called me and said, I don't have an agent. I'd like to come see the house. I said, that is great. I want to be transparent. I represent the seller. I'm not able to help you. I can refer you out to a great agent if you'd like, or if you have another agent, that would be great. They didn't have somebody. I said, great, I have an awesome person on my team, but I just want to be clear, I represent the seller. I'll have her call you. She called them. They ended up, we were in multiple offers. Becky was able to present a really strong, good offer, and she knows my love language, which is non-refundable earnest money and fast deadlines. And we were able to make it a win-win. Her offer came in and netted my client way more than the other people. So the buyer got what they needed. Becky got a client out of it. My seller got what he needed, and we closed quickly. So it really became a win-win. Everybody won. And he netted probably $8,000 more than the other offers that were on the table. And we didn't cut commission, nothing changed. It was just being able to go, well, what is it that's going to make the difference? And that this buyer is happy. Did they pay more than the other person did? They did, and they got the house, which was a good value. So all of the pieces, I just love when that happens. Like, that's when true like fiduciary happens. That same client, so that client that I closed on that Eagle Mountain house, I met him originally knocking doors probably 5 years ago. And we were holding a house open up on Nevada Avenue. So we were knocking doors. And he's like, yeah, I want to sell my house. We came back and talked to him. Well, he'd only lived there for probably 18 months. And so somebody on my team had gone and set the appointment up. And when I got there and we started talking, I'm like, I don't think you should sell. He's like, well, what do you mean? I'm like, well, you can, but you're going to get stuck with capital gains. You guys have doubled in value right now. You're going to end up paying the capital gains $150,000. Well, the gain would probably be more like 30. I'm like, we can totally sell your house. I just want to be clear about what that looks like. So we didn't end up selling his house. So he called me a year later and was like, you're the only agent I will ever work with, because I have never had an agent tell me I shouldn't sell my house. So we helped him sell his house on Nevada, but buy an Eagle Mountain. He ended up getting divorced in Eagle Mountain. I helped him refinance. After that, he called me when he was ready to sell again. So like, when we do fiduciary, when we do the right thing, money pours into our account. Really, really cool. Any questions on functionary versus fiduciary? Good, we'll just keep going. So today's class, we're going to talk a lot about setting expectations. Everything is better when you set the right expectations with people. I will just tell you, like, it makes all the difference. Now, one of the best ways you guys can set expectations is going to be doing a buyer consultation or a seller consultation. And I promise, even if it's like, hey, your buddy calls, he's like, hey, I think I might be buying a house. I saw one on KSL. Can we go look? Yes, you can. And your life will be difficult if you don't take the time to sit down and help them. Now, we think they don't want to come talk to us. They actually do. They want to be treated with respect. This is a big purchase. It doesn't mean you can't go show them that house. They're excited. Let's go take a look at that house. And then why don't we swing by the office and we can just kind of talk about what to expect and what it would look like if you liked it. Right? Even if you go set up and you decide to make an offer on it, you got to sit down and go through, what does it look like? Your life will be better. Because if not, like, every day they're going to be like, so what happens next? What am I doing? What's going on? So that's why we ended up on this last class. Only one person showed up on Zoom. Nobody showed up in person. So I did a one-on-one consultation with her about what our buyer consultation looks like, and which was kind of fun. And that is recorded online. So for me, my buyer consultation, I'm a high D, so I'm not so much warm and fuzzy. Like, I don't really ever want to pick out your countertops. I don't want to go to the design center. I will negotiate the hell out of the contract. That's my job. And I believe I'm also not a huge script person. I'm not really good at scripts. My confidence comes from my knowledge of the contract and my market knowledge. And when you have the confidence, you can talk about those things without feeling like you have to have a perfect script. So my script for people as we start to go is, hey, why don't we sit down? And we can just kind of go over what it looks like in case you did want to make an offer on a house. I feel like everybody really appreciates that. Does that sound good? I say yes. So for me, when we get together, I get some of the basics out of the way, like, awesome, where do you want to live? How far north? How far south? How many beds, baths? There's a form in here that's going to be like all of your questions. That gets hot, cold in here. It gives you kind of like the basics of what to ask for. Some people are really good at those warm, fuzzy questions. And then there's some things like, what's the three most important things that you have to have in your house? And they're like, well, my budget's 300,000, but I want a 2-car garage and 4 beds, and I'd like to be on a 1/4 acre. And I don't want an HOA and all of the things, right? So then I'm like, okay, so then I play what's more important. Oh, that's awesome. I think that's great. Just so I know exactly what to be looking for you. What's more important? If I found a 2-bedroom with a garage, would you rather have the garage or the extra bedrooms? And I have to sit and think. So I do that all the way down their list. I'm like, I want to get you everything. I just kind of want to understand what's most important to you. So what if I find a 4-bed, 3-bath townhouse with a 2-car garage, but no yard? Would that work? Or no? Okay, so what if it's a 3-bed, 1-bath house with no garage? Like, so I start to work my way through and go, what could work for you? And just watching them. They may say one thing, but you can see they want something different. Or you have husband, wife, right?
Oh, yeah.
Or where do you spend the most time? What's more important, your bedroom or the kitchen? What's more important, the backyard or the family room? And so that's actually just really helped me get clear about what's most important to them. And then I go, well, let's do this. I think one of the best ways for us to talk about what the process looks like is to pretend like we found a house today. Let's say we go out and we find that super cute 3-bed, 2-bath, single family home. And we're inside and you guys want to make an offer. Why don't we do this? Let's go through what it's going to look like if we actually made an offer. And I just pull out the rep sheet. So, and I start to go through the rep sheet. So great, earnest money. Do you guys know what earnest money is? That's going to be due within 4 days. I don't want to get into it here because I think we have more stuff to cover, but you guys can go in and look that one up, and we run through the entire rep sheet. Now, one secret that Diana Kokoska, you guys won't know her, she's a legend, taught me in one of the classes I was in, is that if you study your contracts upside down, you will look like a freaking pro. Because as you present, you need to learn enough that you can talk about them upside down. It will look like you've been doing it forever, even if it's your first day. So that's something that you should spend some time on, and it'll give you confidence. The next thing is if you can take each of the contracts and just take 1 paragraph a day and learn about it, and learn about it in a way that you need to teach it. Teach it to your kid, to your mom, to your husband, wife, whatever, roommate. So just take 1 section and be like, this is what this section means. And so when you read it, instead of trying to memorize it, I want you to think, how am I going to describe this to somebody else? And then keep doing that with them until you can actually talk about it in your own words, in your own heart of what that really means. So it's not, once you start to do that, I think it really helps. So the 3 contracts, you should do that with. Your first one probably should be your buyer broker agreement. That is like, that's your lowest lying fruit for you guys as new agents. Buyers just come. It's they have a lower standard / expectation. They don't know, right? Once somebody's bought once and they had a good or bad experience, they're more particular about maybe somebody who's more seasoned. But you know, there's 3 things that people expect from or want from their real estate agent. Number 1, they want to be able to trust you. That is the number 1 thing that they say in all of their surveys. They want to trust you. Doesn't matter how long you've been in the business, they just want to trust you. They want somebody with really good market information, market knowledge. And they want someone who can negotiate on their behalf. None of those things are how many houses have you guys sold. So you can get that out of your mind. That's why you and I might both go in an appointment and you might actually land it and I might not, because they might not trust me, right? I might not be able to prove that I have market knowledge or be able to negotiate for them. But trust is the number 1 most important thing. That's why they'll work with somebody that has never sold a house before, because that's the most important thing, because there's some sleazy agents out there, probably like 90%. So all you have to do is be 1% better than them. You don't even have to be great. That was probably the best advice that a mentor went to coffee with him this morning. He's my grandpa friend. He's the best. But that's what I'd say is he's like, you don't have to be right. You just have to be 1% better, Angie. Like, you don't like realize the standard is so low, just be a little bit better. Just keep showing up and be a little bit better, and you will make 6 figures in this business. It's like hard not to, if those are the 2 things you keep doing. Okay. Buyer broker agreement. So start with the buyer broker agreement. And I actually run through the buyer broker agreement as well on that class from last month.
Where do you find those?
Those are on the MLS. You might not have access to them, but I'd be happy to print them off for you.
Okay.
And honestly, do you remember when I said I'd made a mistake on the contract on that first deal? That was when I was like, oh, my stomach was sick. I actually didn't know what it meant. And it was from that point on that I had another agent in the office. They're like, well, did you read it? No. That's the worst thing. I was like, I was just trying to get clients. And if we just take the time to read it. So, and there's time to read it. Just do a little every day. And this is like what's going to be funny. And maybe I shouldn't tell everybody this, but honestly, when I first started, I kept a Repsy next to the toilet, like in the bathroom. I was like, I was a busy freaking mom. I was like, okay, I have 2 minutes in the morning. I'm going to study this one paragraph. And there's time, just take one at a time. But the secret isn't just studying it. Your secret sauce will be going and teaching that one paragraph to somebody here in your house. Do it every day. Hey, can I explain this paragraph to you? And then ask them if they understand what you're trying to say. And if they don't, try again. And that will lead you to more money. Your ability to understand your contracts will so much more money from it. Start with your buyer broker agreement, and then I would start with your Repsy, and then I would do your exclusive right to sell. Those 3 will be like how you make money. So important. And I mean, look, we have all these great people here. Like, we actually should just set a like, okay, let's come Friday and we'll practice back and forth on each other. And if you don't have anyone to practice with, just set your cell phone up and record it. Even if you don't go back and look at it, when you record it, your mind thinks differently. It's much more engaged and much more intentional about what you're doing. And then if you do go back and listen to it, you can kind of be like, ugh, maybe I'll do this different. Sometimes it's bad when I go back to these classes and I'm like, my arms are crazy. But it's healthy. It's good. So I go over the Repsy, and then I go over my buyer broker agreement. And really, I just go through, okay, great. So honestly, I actually probably start with the buyer broker agreement in my buyer consult. So I get my soft stuff out of the way. And then I say, do you guys know how real estate agents get paid? And I just pull out the buyer broker and we start to go over it. I'm like, well, sellers, this is why I can't, this is the stuff I love. That's why I can't skip this stuff, you guys. I can't not tell you. But you know, sellers, they pay us to bring motivated, qualified buyers to their home. And so for me, I don't put 3% on my buyer broker. I just put as per MLS. That's me. But I am 100% at getting my buyer broker side. So I put the seller pays us to bring motivated, qualified buyers to your home. And then I go through the next pieces of it. For us, we have 2 rules on our team. 1, I don't work with jerks. And 2, I only work with people who want to work with me. So if you don't want to work with me, it's okay. There are lots of agents out there. It's really important to me, though, that you are represented. So at any point in time, if we need to cancel this contract, we can. My rule is you have to tell me, though. You can't ghost me or stop returning my phone calls. You have to be able to have a conversation with me about it. But if it's not us, we'll release you from the contract so that you are able to. And this is really important because you might sign, and I tell them, you might sign a contract with somebody else and you might be tied into it for 12 months. And if you don't work with them, you're working alone. And it's important to me in this business, you are not going to win if you don't have representation. So if it's not us, it's okay. Just let me know. And then we go into the next part. This section says what you're going to do for me. And I just underline it upside down, A, B, C, D. The first thing is in communication with all other agents, you're going to tell them that you're already represented. The next thing is it's your responsibility to tell or to deliver all of the documents to the lender that they request. The third thing is you're going to do the due diligence to this home. Your due diligence looks different than mine. you may care about the schools and I don't, or vice versa. So we'll provide you all the information you need to do all the home inspections and things, but it's your job to determine what's most important to you. The next one, section D, is it while you're doing that due diligence, be careful. Don't get bit by a dog. Don't trip down the stairs. Because if you do, this says you can't sue me or Keller Williams. And the next one says that I will provide you a copy of your wire fraud disclosure and your buyer due diligence checklist. The state requires those. And the last one says you haven't signed this contract with anyone else. Is that right? Fantastic. Well, that's what you're going to do for me. What I'm going to do for you is I will be, and I underline, loyal, obedient, full disclosure, complete confidentiality, and anything else required by law. And I go right into what fiduciary is, kind of like we talked about. That sounds like Boy Scout thing, but it's really important to me. I need you guys to know I'm going to negotiate like you're my grandma. I'm going to take care of you like you're my mom. And that's what this means. Sound good? Great. Then we go into limited agency. We go into the next sections. And usually by the end, if they feel really good, I'll be like, do you want to put me to work? And they say yes. Or if it doesn't feel like I should ask, I don't. I just wait and we go through the rep C. When I get done with the rep C, I'm like, this was a lot, right? Yeah. Best thing is you don't have to do it. It's not yours. I'm going to own it. Do you feel comfortable that I know it? Say yes. And we sign it and we go on. That's why the contracts matter, like your ability, and you guys might have other scripts. I just don't, I'm not that fancy. I don't have any fancy scripts. I'm pretty transparent in it. The reason that it all matters though is we set expectations. It sounds weird, but they're so much more ready when they have that knowledge to then go make competitive offers. So that's also in that class, I kind of go through how to help them win on an offer when and I'm so sorry, we are in multiple offers still. Every time we're under 500,000, basically we're in multiple offers. 500 to 700, you kind of have some room. There's some flexibility. I think sellers are motivated and there's more inventory and less buyers, but under 500, whoa, it's crazy. Okay. Expectation for documents. So, I might have to pull up another one. I don't know, I guess my other we're gonna actually go through communication. So we're talking about buyers and sellers. Well, let's talk about who else are we communicating with during a transaction? The other agent. Do you know your negotiation starts the minute you schedule your showing? Mm-hmm. Or don't schedule it, however that is, whatever that looks like. Even if it's like you tried to schedule and it didn't work, and then you sent a spicy text message, or you couldn't get it across, you don't realize that agent is the one that you're gonna, maybe they love this house and you got to get them to take your offer. So one of the best classes I took was on negotiations. When I first started, I thought negotiations were like hard nosed, this stuff. And it actually isn't. The best negotiator is going to be able to step on the same side as the person they're working with and figure out what they need and satisfy it. That's one of the most important things. And if you can get your mindset on that you and the other agent need, you just flip over to that side and understand what they have. And let's not forget, everyone in this transaction is human. We send offers and counter offers back and forth. And our buyers or our sellers might be like, I can't believe them. I can't believe they didn't take our lowball offer. It's our job to help them feel the perspective of the opposite side. So if we can help communicate with them, you know what, I know it feels like that, but they've lived in their home for 25 years and they're just doing their best to try to move on too. I know interest rates are so high. I get it. And I know you guys are just putting everything you can into this. But they're having to go buy too. They're not done here. They're having to sell in this tough market and then they're turning around and having to buy. That's tough, right? And I promise they're not trying to hurt you. They're just human. So as much as I can get people to even do handwritten stuff, I think is super valuable because people start to feel the human side of stuff. So on a seller side, if I can get a seller to handwrite the seller disclosures instead of filling them out, it's so impersonal. But if they write in blue ink, is my rule, write it in blue ink as much as you can on that paper. the buyer's gonna feel like it's this cute little lady that lives in that house instead of this stark investor. It's just the way it feels. They'll have better success. So agents, who else do we talk to? Who else do we communicate with?
Lenders and title.
Lenders and title, and your reputation will matter.
Mhm.
So you might try to get a deal done and be a little shady about it. It will not serve you. Everyone will know. It will follow you. And I have no idea how one transaction touches another. You won't believe it. I will have never heard of an agent's name, and I have to call them. Same time frame. I had this gal call me on a sign call. So, an agent shared a sign call with me. So I meet them at the house. I talk to them. They have their house listed down in St. George. And I call that agent and we put together a deal or whatever. You won't believe that then that same St. George agent is representing another buyer over here that is offering on my house in Eagle Mound. I was like, but it always happens that way where I'm like, I will have never seen or talked to an agent. And then they pop up on 2 or 3 deals back to back. It's so weird. So just really know that and go at it. This is me, everybody's different, but just be a little softer when you're talking to people. Try to be somebody they want to work with. And a lot of the times they'll just want to work with you. And even if your offer's not great, they'll help you get your offer to where it needs to be. They'll come back to the nice one and be like, we really do want to work with you. How can we make that happen? It's worthwhile. Same though on your lenders. And if you don't know things, be honest, be transparent about it. It doesn't matter how long you've been in the business. Like, I think we tell that story to ourselves, like, I should know, so I'm going to pretend. I had that experience actually with a sign call. I had met somebody down in Salem, and we were looking at houses, and then we went and looked at lots. Well, I was working at a model home in Linden, so I knew the price of our lots up there were like 180. So when these guys asked how much I thought those lots were, I'm like, I don't know, probably 180. They were the same size. It was a really nice neighborhood. This was a long time ago because they were 180. Now you can't get anything for that.
No way.
Well, I went home and I looked it up and they were 90,000. Holy crap. I felt so stupid. And I called them though. And I was like, oh guys, I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have even told you that. I didn't know. And I told them the same experience. I've been working a lot more up in Linden, and that's what the lots were. Those were actually 90,000. And they were like, oh my gosh, thanks for being so honest. We're not interested in them, but we're so grateful that you were honest about it. Well, from there, I did a ton of research in Salem just so I could be more prepared for them. You won't believe I ended up with 5 contracts back to back to back in Salem because I knew about Salem. So anywhere you want to do business, learn about it. Okay. So do you remember when I said they want you to be trustworthy? What were the other 2 things? Did you write them down?
For the market knowledge and negotiate.
Awesome. None of those things cost money either. You don't have to have a ton of money. So let's talk about market knowledge. So market knowledge, you will sell what you know about. Do you guys know what listing alerts are? You probably don't, Bryce.
No.
And it's Susie. I feel like, yes.
If I was,
Yeah,
that's Susie. Yeah.
Susie, it's so beautiful. I'm like, I want handwriting like that.
I'm like, wow.
This is beautiful. You're in charge of everyone's name tags from here on out. No. You have your license right now, or you're working on it?
I'm working, yeah, for here I'm working on it.
Okay, so old school agents call them hot sheets. So if you ever hear hot sheets and listing alerts, they're the same thing. They have probably not been a hot sheet for 5 years, but I can't seem to change my thought process on it. A listing alert is on the MLS, and your listing alerts, if you want to know that it's a search and it sends it to you every day. Okay, you can have it sent to you however often you want. Mine come to me at 4 a.m. and 4 p.m. It has an option that it can send it to you instantly when stuff comes out. So distracting. I had to stop that. It just distracted me from what was most important. So mine are all there when I wake up in the morning and then before I finish my work day. And it's it can be on anything you want, but you will sell the stuff you know about, right? You'll talk about it. It gives you information, and it's going to help you know if it's a good deal or a bad deal. So if I told you one of these condos came on the market today at 270, is that a good deal or a bad deal? Does anybody know?
I'd say good.
Good, you're right, because I think they're more like 285 right now. So, and there was a point in time they were at 305. It just depends. So what's cool is you can get all this information in your cell phone. In a few minutes, you can see everything that's on the market. So when I started, I had, and I still have it, I just don't look at it as much, one that comes with everything in Utah County every day. I looked at every single home. So you ask, what do I send people? Most of my touches are actually those. I just look through them and I'm like, oh, that's a cute kitchen. Oh, that's in so-and-so's neighborhood. Oh, this. And so I just send them. I'm like, oh, cool. And I send them individually. I personally don't automate any of that stuff. There is a ton of cool technology here that will automate a lot of it. But my touch is substantially higher because I'm texting them something specific and instead of something general that goes to their email, that goes to their spam. 100% of text messages are open. No one leaves their text messages unopened. It makes it, or you're broken. Like I have probably 70,000 unopened emails, right? But we'll find the one that still has the notification and clear it. So, and honestly, that is a ton of what I do first thing in the morning. If I could just go back through and even just say that I'm like, if it's in somebody's neighborhood, or if it's near them, or if it's something I think that might be interesting to them, whether it's under contract or closed, and it just is, hey, this is out in your area. I was thinking of you, and I text it. They may or may not respond, but a lot of times they will just respond back. Cool, yeah, I was thinking XYZ. But I have one for everything in Utah County, because then I know kind of what's out there. Then anything you want to know about, right? So I don't sell a ton of trailers, but I'll sell trailers and I'll sell other stuff too, right? But when I first started, my average purchase price was 147. And it's because I knew that market. I was working with investors and first-time home buyers. We moved into another neighborhood, and I remember working with a lender, and he's like, you're gonna start selling those houses. I was like, and so I had to start learning what $1 million properties looked like. I didn't have any knowledge of it, but I had to be able to speak to it. So if I went to coffee or to girls' night or to whatever, I could talk about what a good deal was. So I have a search that comes to me now for everything in Utah County between 1 million and 2 million. And this is the cool thing. You can make it active, under contract, and backup, and then sold. So you can watch the cycle of properties. It's going to send it to you when it's active. You'll get a notification when it goes under contract, and then you'll get a notification when it sells. So let's say somebody is even thinking about they're at all considering selling. The first thing I do, I go and I set up a listing alert within a mile of their neighborhood. Even if they're 3 years out, because then I will have studied their market by the time we get ready to list. I'll know exactly what it looks like. And when their neighbor puts a sign in the yard, I know before that seller calls me, it's like, hey, my neighbor just put a sign up in their yard. How much is it? So when it comes to me, I just screenshot it and I send it to them. Hey, this is in your neighborhood, just went on the market. Hey, it just went under contract. Woo, it just sold. This is what it sold for. Oh, they said it sold for 450. No, it sold for 425, and they did 10,000 in closing costs, because neighbors lie every time. But that keeps me, so I'm in a really heavy real estate relationship with people. I talk to them about other stuff, but I'm not friends with a lot of people, to be honest. It's about real estate, but then they call me when they have real estate questions. That's for me. Everybody's got to do it your way. I'm actually a pretty big introvert. It takes a lot of energy for me to be out. So listing alerts. So anything you want to learn about, if you want to sell $1 million properties, you need to have $1 million listing alerts. You need to be able to talk about them. You need to know what a good deal is. If you have a lot of college guys, you need to be doing 3-bedroom, 2-bath townhomes, 4-bedroom, 3-bath townhomes, stuff that would be like, this would make a great rental. We just sold a townhouse down in in Provo, and it was so cool because Hunter came up to me, he's like, hey, I saw your 4-bedroom townhouse, that is a great deal, do you know what I could get for rent? Listen to that conversation when he's at school, what that sounds like. That's his lead generating. And it might just say, hey, I'm so excited, I saw this, not like, hey, are you looking to buy, sell, or invest? But talking about what you know, you might even be like today, did you know that there were 38 price reductions in Utah County? I didn't actually open the email. I just saw it and I can delete it. And you guys think I'm super smart. That's the market knowledge where they're like, I want to be in relationship with her. As soon as I started that listing alert, do you want to know how long that went from 1 million to 2 million? You guys want to count how many days it took for us to list the $1 million property in the neighborhood? It was like 95 days. That 90-day cycle. It was so crazy because we helped them. And that same gal, it was 2 years ago. I keep listing alerts, so I just screenshot and send them to her and keep in touch on those kinds of things. Last night was like, I don't think I even reached out to her on it. She reached out to me and took a picture of her neighbor as well. Becky's going to go show her a $1.8 million house tomorrow, and then they would like to list their house. It's like 1.7. Same thing. It's just like staying in relationship and doing right by them. And because I also just wrote an offer on a trailer. So, does anybody have questions on listing alerts? Feel like you need to set up. You should probably, if you don't, do you guys have any set up right now? How many do you have set up?
I have like help with that probably too, but I realized I need a lot more.
A lot more.
A
So
lot more.
if you're like, I don't know what to do, go to your database and look at the first person in your database and go, what would they want to know about? And then set up a listing alert for that. Don't send it to
Even if
them,
it's just their neighbor.
just send it to
Even
you.
if it's-
Yes, even if it's just their neighborhood, you put their address in. And I know there's ways you can automate it, but I love when I know and I share the information. My conversion rate's so much higher. And then and if I actually am showing people stuff, I kind of don't like it to be automated, because if it sends them junk and they want me to show them junk, to show them, but if I can only send them the very best, which this is for another class, never show one house. If they ask you to see one house, find a second one. Doesn't matter what it is, doesn't matter if it's overpriced, doesn't matter. Just find a second one and show two, because then it is this or that instead of yes or no every time. And they may just, hey, I saw this condo, find something else, because there is probably something else there that you can show, and you'll have so much more success if it's also an event instead of, hey, we show this, I'm going to go home and think about it. So much a better situation for you. Set expectations for documents. And I don't sign. So people ask, well, will you show people houses if they haven't signed a buyer broker agreement? All right, you guys, this is your first year in real estate, right? There is nothing that is a waste of time your first year in real estate. Do everything you can. I want you to think of how long doctors and nurses and lawyers go to school, and then how long they have to do internships and residencies before they make any money. You are in your internship right now. You might not make any money this year. It is part of school. Be open to that. Do everything you can. So if I was a new agent, yes. And even now, do I show unqualified buyers? Yes, it depends on the situation. But right now it's more important than ever, because let's say you get a chance to show, you are practicing. You need to practice. So you can jump on and show for other people, right? Other agents. A lot of agents will pay $25 a door. If it were me, you know what I would do? I would show for $10 a door. And the reason why is because you're the one that gets the experience. You just got paid $10 for that. So it covers some of your gas, but then you got to set up the showing through showing time. You got to practice that, or a line, or whatever's happening. You get to practice the super box. You get to practice printing off the MLS. You get to practice walking through the home on somebody else's client. So if you screw it up, it's not even yours. Right? Like, isn't that such a value? Do you know, have you used the blue super boxes? Well, and I remember my first one on shaking, trying to get it to work. So, and wouldn't it be good that you got to do that when it wasn't $1 million listing you were trying to close? It's not a waste of time. The second thing that does is then you get to be in relationship with that agent that was too busy. And that matters because, Jordan Larson.
Yes.
So Jordan, he's, I don't know, doing great big things now, but came to one of my Ignite classes and I was busy and I was like, hey, I'm super busy. I gave him homework. He was the only one that did it. So when he came back, I was like, great, I have an investor. I'm so busy. Can you go show him a property? If you're willing to show him and ride it, I'll split it 50-50 with you. He was in proximity to me. So your ability to show for $10 puts you into proximity of other agents who are working, who might be too busy, who will give you things. So sometimes if you're just willing to be open and give, come from contribution, you get the knowledge that no one takes from you. You get to be you're out there working instead of what else were you doing? Watching Netflix? And it's like, I can't believe I showed for $10. I showed for free. I was so excited. You know what? I also pay 25% referral fee when people let me use their open houses. I know that seems weird, but I couldn't get into I got some of the best open houses though. I got luxury open houses, or I got I got to be in relationship with that agent who then helped me. And I was willing, I'm like, if I close anything from this open house, I'll give you 25%. That agent then was really motivated to help me get people to that open house. They were also willing to answer their phone when I called them at 9 o'clock at night when I needed help. So you have to think, how can I use my time, which is free right now, to be able to leverage and get into relationship and get into production? Those are just ideas. Hope they're helpful. We are talking about communications. So a little bit, the other thing I want to tell you guys on both buyers and sellers is as you guys are setting communication. So when I'm meeting with my buyers and sellers, I'm asking how they want communicated with, right? So great, you guys, should we do like text messages, phone calls, or emails? Everyone says text message. And I say, great. So do you guys mind if I put you on a group text message? I find that one partner usually responds more than the other, but they both want to know, is a group text message okay? Because there are also some that can't stand group text messages, so get permission first. And they say, yeah, that sounds great. Perfect. I want you guys to know that I'm going to text you, but at any point in time, you guys can call me. I just don't want to interrupt your life. But if you have any questions, pick up the phone and call me. And I also want you to know that I'll communicate back with you how you communicated to me. So if you send me an email, I will probably send you an email back. Don't expect a phone call unless you say, Angie, I want a phone call. So I just want to let you know kind of what to expect, and that when I get out of meetings, I always respond to my phone calls first, my text messages second, and emails last. So that's the last thing I'm going to communicate on. So if it's urgent, I think you should call me. So I kind of set that expectation with them of what to expect. And I always want them to be able to call me, but they always want to text most of the time. I have some teachers who want to be email because they don't have their cell phones or other people like that for whatever reason, but asking them what that looks like. The other thing is we're not going over too much timeline, but with your sellers especially, but buyers as well, Friday is your communication day. Ideally, you can't over communicate with your buyer or seller. Once they're under contract, just send them a text every day if you can, even if it's just an emoji like, we're hanging out, hurry up and wait. That's kind of where we're at. We're doing great. No news over here. Have a great weekend. Fridays for sure. Do not leave Fridays until you've touched everybody that is currently under contract, everybody you're actively working with, and maybe even your leads. And you can do a call, but even a text. Hey, I just want to touch base with you before the weekend. Everything looks good on our side. There's nothing we should need. I'll let you know if that changes. Have a great weekend. You won't hear from them until Monday. I promise you, when you do not do this on Friday, your Monday is going to suck. And that the first thing on 9 o'clock Monday morning, you're going to get a spicy text message and it's going to take you forever to unbury it. And you felt it, you felt this tap like, oh, you should message them. And then you didn't. Anytime you feel that, do it then. Stop whatever you're doing and call them or message them. But just make sure you go down your list and just make sure that they feel good before you go into your weekend. Weekends are just where all of their stuff floats around inside of them and they start to feel anxious, nervous, worried. is my agent even doing anything? I'm paying them $20,000. They're not doing crap. Can't believe I hired them. They get into this weird loop. And by Monday, you're the worst agent ever. And you didn't even do anything wrong. Nothing happened. We were waiting for underwriting. Just tell them. Set up to date market expectations. So, and we kind of talked about it in that class that I gave. How are we doing on time? Good. About when I do my rep seat, I do go over the market with them of what it sounds like. So you guys, depends on the price point, right? And even at that price point. So just so you know, I know you want to sell your house at 1.8. And we've both been watching it, so we're probably about 45 to 60 days. But even in this market, buyers they're just being very particular about condition. So I want you to know that we get one shot. We got to do it right. We got to get on the market right. We got to make sure we're priced right. And I also want you guys to know we might be 45 days sitting on the market. You gonna be okay with that? And help them work through what that might look like on a seller side. On a buyer side, they're like hearing on the news that interest rates are so high, there's so many houses, you're going to be able to get anything you want. And that's just not really the case. So the reality, buyer, is that there is literally less than 70 houses on the market right now in Utah County under 500,000. That's townhomes. That's like, there's just not much out there that we're going to be working with. So I want you guys to just be ready for what that might look like. When we find the right house, this is how we're going to win. And I know it seems crazy right now. So, and I think I go through that pretty well as I line that out of like, if we're not competing, this is what it looks like. If we are competing, this is what it's going to look like. And you don't have to do any of those things. But there's going to be a point in time we walk into a house and you say, Angie, get me this house. When that happens, this is what we're going to need to do. And what's so cool is then we've already set it in a room like this. So when we're in the kitchen, they actually do that. They go, Angie, give me this house. I'm like, okay, so you know what that means, right? They're like, yes. I'm like, okay, let's go. And they start to put that together. I'm also happy to share. I have two things that I share with a lot of our clients that are just pre-recordings. It's a buyer class that I taught and a seller class. So if you guys want those, I'm happy to share them. They're just Zoom recordings. Some of them go through, I think the seller one goes through the market, and it actually just talks about pricing, what the market looks like, what to expect from a seller. But if you guys will text me your name, your phone number's on there, but text it too. It just makes it easier for me. Your name, your phone, and your email. I will share those Zoom recordings if you want them. But like Rebecca that I just said went under contract, she was great. She watched the buyer class and the seller class. So when I came to her class or to her house, she was like, yeah, you already told me I was supposed to box up all this stuff from the class. Like, perfect. Or when we talked about non-refundable earnest money, or when we talked, like, she was already there. She's like, yeah, I watched it. You told me to watch your class. I'm like, okay. She's been so great to work with. I've had some others who've been a little harder. She's been fantastic. But I think those would serve you guys well if you want them. I'm happy to share. Oh, that's what I was going to. Oh, man. And you are welcome to put me in your phone. And message me on your day 90. That is Rocky.
Yeah.
Fischer is with us, B. There we go. Thanks, Jill. You're the best. All right. And you'll be able to talk about the more you guys send yourself on those hot sheets. Like, I recommend today you go home and get 5 to 10 set up, because they're not going to come every day. They're only going to send it to you if there's something new in the area. So you might have 100 in there, but there's literally in Nephi, there is only, I think, one house under 400,000 right now. So I might get one notification once a month. Like it's pretty minimal.
Hey, Angie,
But anything you want to know about, anything you want to sell, that was the wrong, anything you want to sell, start getting those hot sheets sent to you. All right. I don't know what step 3 says. I can't see what's behind it. Let's see if I can figure out. Oh, gaining referral business. This is like the funnest thing. So we're 92% repeat and referral. My first year in real estate though, I was 80% of my business came from open houses. The open houses are the gift from the gods when you're new. And it's so cool because nobody there knows you're new unless you show up like you're new. So don't do a little, you just have to be 1% better, right? So a lot of these agents will be like, no one came to my open house. It was a total waste of time. It's so dumb. Okay, well, you put one sign out and then expected people to show up. Do a little bit of work up front. Make sure it gets on KSL. Make sure it gets on Facebook Marketplace. Maybe they don't come to your open house, but you got 2 or 3 conversations about the home that you can explore now. Don't put one sign out. Literally put 10. They're not that expensive and you can borrow them from the office. At least 3. 5 is better. 10 is you'll do great. And there is another book called, I should find out who wrote it. So good if you are new and looking for a good book. This is not a KW book. Sell with Soul. She talks about how to sell, how to do open houses. She's so good. It's just a really, really good book. She also is a major introvert. And so she talks about how she can be successful in her own personality in her own way. But do a little bit of work. So, and it gives you a chance if you want to knock doors. I think I have to admit, I'm a chicken. I don't really like to knock doors. My goal is 10. If I get 10 doors knocked for an open house, it's a success and I go home. Some people are really good. I have to work really hard to go do that. And a good script works. Just have a good script. The pre-open house knock is challenging for me. I just invite people. That's all I do. I'll show you some other stuff you can do as well. The post open house after it goes under contract is where the secret sauce is. So we knock post open house and typically we'll go under contract within a week or 2. Within that month, we go back to the neighborhood and go, hey, just knocking. I just want to let you know, we did help the Smiths sell the house down the street. There's been so many people looking for this neighborhood. We had 3 offers. We're just wondering, who do you know that might be looking to make the move? I've got 3 more families that want to come into this neighborhood. Now, we don't have it as crazy as we have. That's what I mean. We used to be like, I had 42 offers. Now 3 is a good 3. If you're priced right, you'll still get 3. But the post not open house is good. I don't have the MLS pulled up here, but this is a lot like the listing alerts. So you can do a really quick, you can get really fast data. And I also use this just even at my open house, so I know what it is. I put my address in the MLS. I do one search a mile around, and I just look to see what's active. So really quickly, within about 20 seconds, I can come up with my active, under contract, and sold numbers. So I can create a script around that. And so does anyone have the MLS with them? Awesome. Let's put in 309 South, 1800 West. So do you know how to do the search or do you need help? Oh, sorry. So we're going to go into and do a fresh search.
You only do it as a search.
Yeah. And then we're going to clear wherever you're at. So it can be, just do it, clear that. Great. Just to make sure we're clean. And then you'll go, we'll do active, but then we will view map. The view map is really cool. If you guys don't like, the MLS has some cool classes, but also if you go under support, there's like a ton of short videos, like 2 to 3 minutes, and it'll teach you how to do all this stuff. And so I just have 2 of the screens up. I split my screen and I can watch it, and then I come over here and do it. This little radius The round one,
The round one? Yeah,
the round one, and then you come to this little blue box here.
gotcha.
And it's stuff you just don't know, right? Someone just gotta teach you this stuff, but this is like, 309 South. 1800 West in Provo. I feel like everybody should have their MLS stuff. We should do hot sheets right now.
Yeah, no kidding.
Right, and 1 mile. So right now, this is my old address, so I know it's so many, huh? Your match search returned over 300, holy cow. Let's go back to view results and see what happened. Oh, it's because it didn't pick up our sold, so our active, so go to refine one more time. Yeah, you're in the right spot, and now let's select active. And we have 13, perfect. So right now you've got 13 active properties, and then go back and hit refine search again.
Yep.
And we're gonna switch this from active. So we X that one off, yep. And then let's do active and under contract and backup. We have 11 of those, and then let's do sold. Sold is gonna go back 360 days unless we verify what we want that to look like. You can make numbers tell any story you want.
Right.
So let's, and you can even come back to days here. I like to use that one and just go 30. So in the last 30 days, 9 sold. So let's talk about a really quick script. Somebody comes into your open house. They're like, hey, welcome to my open house. How'd you hear about it? Did you find us online or see the signs? So we just start to talk about what that is. Now, information equals motivation. When people are motivated, they will talk to you. When they're not, they don't. It's not that they don't like you. I want you to think about when you go to Dillard's and you walk through Dillard's and people are like, hey, can I help you? Can I help you? And you're like, no, I'm just looking. That's all they're doing, okay? But the minute you need black socks, you walk right up to the salesperson. You're like, hey, where can I get a pair of black socks? Information equals motivation. The more they talk to you, typically, the more motivated they are. Don't feel bad if they're like, I'm just looking, just like you do at Dillard's. You don't hate those guys. You're just looking. I just got here. So great. So we'll role play for a second. So we are Bryce. So welcome to my open house. I'm Angie. What's your name?
Bryce.
Bryce. Awesome. Well, how did you hear about our open house? Was it the signs or did you find us online?
Saw a sign down the road.
It worked. I'm so glad I went and got balloons. Makes all the difference. So that's cool. Do you live in the area?
Yeah, just a few miles down the road.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, you know, the coolest thing about an open house is you're going to get to check out this house without me bothering you. But since you didn't find it online, let me tell you the basics of it. So this just barely hit the market. 4 beds, 3 baths, 2-car garage. We're listed at $479. Here's our cute, whatever. Just so you know, the refrigerator's excluded. Out back, it does have a full sprinkler system, and make sure you check out the shed. It's awesome. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll be here for you. And I let them go about their business and let them go for a minute. Give them a second. Well, that's cool. So you said, so I give them 2 or 3 rooms and then I kind of poke around. Awesome. So you said you're not far from here. So like, are you renting right now?
No, we own the house.
Oh, that's awesome. Do you like this neighborhood?
Yeah, it's great.
People love this neighborhood. I don't know if you realize it or not. There's actually 11 houses under contract right now within a mile here. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah,
That's awesome. So, and you guys say you own?
yeah.
Are you guys just looking for fun today then? Or are you guys thinking you might make a move?
We're just looking for fun, but we're considering it
Oh, that's awesome. And how long did you say you lived there?
for about 4 years.
Holy cow, you bought it the best time. I bet you have so much equity.
Yeah,
That's awesome. And a cool interest rate too, huh?
yeah.
That's cool. Cool. Now let me go through a few more rooms. And I'm like, so you guys are considering about making a move? Have you had anyone find out how much your house is worth or maybe done an equity analysis for you?
No, we haven't. We've just been looking on Zillow and seeing the prices online.
Awesome. Very cool. Well, I don't know if it's worth it or not. I'm totally happy to do one for you. I'm a no pressure person though. So you gotta tell me I don't want to chase you down.
Yeah, let's do it.
Awesome. That sounds fantastic. Let's do this. So we'll kind of run through some different things, but being able to talk about whatever it is we want to talk about, like having some information, people are like, oh, she knows. The next thing that you want to do is this house is only 3 beds, but I saw that you're toting around 4 kids, right? So I also want to find everything else that is in that price range and lower. Okay, so I search other good homes that are kind of like the home I'm in. And most of the time, if people qualify for 450, they're gonna be looking at 5, 6, whatever. Or they just come because they saw the signs and I'm in a $700,000 house, right? So you have to have some things that are be like, awesome. So how did this house compare to other houses you guys have seen online?
It looks good.
Awesome. You gotta give me a hard time. It sucks. It smells like cat. I don't know.
Smells like smoke.
I know, that was such a gross house, but I sold it twice, so he got it to be a little better, but. All right, so. Well, that's great. I don't know if you guys, it sounds like you've been looking online. Did you see the one that is down in the cul-de-sac over there?
No, we haven't.
Oh my gosh, it just came on the market. I think it's worth seeing. I'm tied up here until 3, but if you want, I can meet you over there as soon as I'm done picking up my signs.
That won't work today, but maybe another time.
Okay, well, let's do this. Let me grab your cell phone. I'll send you the pictures to it. And then you guys can check it out, drive by, see what you think. And hopefully get their cell phone, right? Because I want them in my cell phone. And I don't ever give my cards out. I honestly just pick up my phone, like, okay, cool. So what's your cell phone? And I just ask like that and I start typing stuff in. Oh, you guys, I must be on a group text message. I have 20 text messages. Let me just make sure nothing is completely on fire. I have a few crazy things today. Oh, I got yours. That's where 20 of these came from. Bryce is on it. Okay. Good luck today. Settlement, Richard. Oh, it's my father. I will give you a call when I get out of my class, comma, thank you, exclamation point. I'm super excited to be helping him though. He had a investment property, long story, but I should have jumped in sooner on it. We were able to help him get tenants out on that property. We got it rehabbed and then listed, and we're doing a 1031 exchange, and his new property will cash flow him $700 a month more than his last property. It will be brand new. It won't be in Kearns. It'll be a new construction townhome. Like, that's the cool stuff that we can help people do. I'm willing to take care of it for him, which in Kearns I am not. Thanks, you guys. Roll call. Yeah, okay. Cool. So, but know what else is on the market. So have a plan and know outside of your little open house. People also want to talk. They're going to go to 5 other open houses, right? So you just have to have a little bit more information than somebody else. You need to be a reason why they want to talk to you versus talking to somebody else. If it's like, oh, I can send you a hot sheet. That's why everybody's like, oh, you can send me stuff. Like, I don't really want to send you stuff. We're either going to be in relationship or we're not. I might not be your person. It's cool. Like, let's figure it out. But know something they don't know. Give them something they don't know. Come from contribution. If someone walks in and says they already have an agent, I'm like, that's fantastic. And I ask who they are. They tell me, I'm like, oh, they're great. You're going to be in good hands. And then I start to talk to them about their loan. And if I can help them get a better loan and help my lender get a lead, that lender might give me a lead. Well, that's fantastic. I don't know if you guys know or not, but I've got this lender right now. He is offering free or a no fee refinance if the interest rates go down. Plus they give you an extra $1,000 for your title fees. I'm like, so I know you probably already have somebody, but if you want, I can give you his contact information because that's so important right now. You might as well just go under a contract right now and then he'll just refinance it if the rates go down. Would that be helpful? They say yes. I got him a lead. I'm not trying to take them as a client, but if they lied to me and they're not really under contract with an agent, I'm helping them and they might call me in the future. Like, I didn't pound them. I wasn't a crazy person. So just figure out some things that you can offer. If you guys want to know about that one too, do you guys have a lender that's offering that? They just have to go under contract by May 2024, and for up to 5 years. If interest rates drop, they will do a no fee refinance plus offer $1,000 to help pay for title fees. So, Aaron, I will send it in my email. Text me your stuff and I'll send it. It's CMG. And, but that just helps people go, oh, okay, he isn't doing all of my loans. I actually really have been liking IntraLend. I think he's been really competitive and trying. He's trying. I love when people just show up and try. He's actually closing Rebecca's loan. So I'm proud of him. Okay, open houses. I want to just make sure we hit the other things. So we talked about a quick script, what's happening in their neighborhood, so this is in the last 30 days. So this might be like, yeah, the market is a little bit crazy. I know this neighborhood is so crazy. I don't know if you realize or not, but 9 houses closed in the last 30 days here. That's like 1 every 3 days. People love this neighborhood. Why? And it's a neighbor. Why do you like living here?
Because it's a beautiful area.
It is. Man, that Nelson Grove Park, it is so good. I can't believe it. I wish I had a park like that by my house. But being able to talk about, take these numbers and just work with them and decide what that story is. But that's usually my story is, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. I don't know if you know this or not, but there's 13 houses that are on the market right here. And there's 11 that are actually actively under contract, and 9 of them have sold this month. It's so crazy. The market is really picking up. Like, if you're thinking about making a move, man, I would do it before interest rates drop. It's going to be a madhouse. So, however that be. Those good scripts for open houses. Okay, this is not what I was supposed to talk to you guys about. Sorry about that. It was about getting referrals and getting reviews, referrals and reviews. So, your RAS, you guys know whatever that is, your reticular activating system. Have you guys ever heard that? Oh, you guys, I forget what it's like when you just get into this world. Okay, so have you ever gone to the store and bought your cute white Santa Fe and you'd never seen a white Santa Fe, and then as soon as you bought one, you look around and every single stoplight is your car? Or when you start to see something, your awareness is brought forth. Well, you might not like your cute white Santa Fe, maybe it's a red Mustang or whatever, but the same is for people who are in the middle of this transition in their life. People don't usually want to ask for referrals during the transaction, but it's actually when you should. That's when they are talking to the people at their work about what they're doing. That's when they're talking to their family. That's when they're talking to everybody. That's when they're on Zillow or whatever. That's where they're doing it. So actually talking to them and just making sure that you share with them, hey, just so you know, I don't know what, well, I say stuff like, I don't know whether you know or not, but man, this business is totally word of mouth. That's the first thing I learned about this business, is it's completely word of mouth. So if you do know of anybody who is looking to make a move, or you hear people talking about real estate, can you do me a favor and make sure you tell me about it? I'd love to help them. And most of the time when they say, hey, I was talking to my neighbor, I'm like, oh, that's awesome. Do you want to do me a favor? Can you put us on a group text message and just introduce us? That way it's super easy. And I promise I will not hound them. I usually am just like, try to be really kind like that. The next thing is that anybody who even begins to recommend me, even if it's on like an indoor Facebook yard sale group that is like, who's the best agent? And they put my name, I send them a thank you right then. And for me right now, I'm sending $2 bills as my thank you. So I'm like, thank you so much. I thought I'd send you a lucky $2 bill. You deserve all the luck in the world, something like that. Even if you don't send anything, just send an actual physical card for anyone who thinks about referring you. Not if they close, not if it's, you want to reward the behavior you're looking for, and it will matter. You don't have to, it doesn't have to be expensive. Just do thank you notes. You guys all have to do 10 a day. No, 10 a day. 10 a day. Do you guys know that? You don't have to, but if you want to graduate Ignite, you do. And I will tell you And I graduated Ignite twice. The first time I did was when I first started, and you're not ready to hear anything. It takes you 6 times to retain at 75%. So the second time I took Ignite was after my first full year. That's when my business really launched, but it's because I was ready to hear it. Like, you're like, I don't know what a hot sheet is. I can't even get into the MLS. What do you want me to do? So keep taking Ignite until you make your 6 figures or until you make your $500,000, whatever it is you're looking for. Like, keep coming and showing up. Come to Ignite. But that's actually not the secret sauce. Action is the secret sauce. So Molly has her, hopefully there's some things in there as well that your contacts that you make. I call it 10-4, but I think they've modified it. I'm kind of old. So 10-4 is that you make 10 contacts a day. You add 10 people to your database every day. You write 10 handwritten notes, and then you see 10 homes a week in person. If you do that for a whole month, guess how many people you have talked to?
600, 300.
I love that you're answering at least. You're participating. I appreciate it. 200. 200. It's 50 a week, 200 for the month. You'll have 200 conversations. You'll have added 200 to the database. You'll have written 200 handwritten notes and 40 homes. Yes.
And what would you write on your handwritten notes? What do you think is the best?
So if you did talk to somebody and said, hey, I'm in real estate or whatever it was, or hey, you called them because they had a new baby, I might say, Lacey, it was so fun catching up with you about catching up with you. It's neat to see your family grow. Thanks for thinking about me when anyone's talking about real estate. And I stick my business card in and send it. I might not have said it on the phone, so I might write it that way. Sometimes it might just be, hey, it might not have been someone who called. It was, hey, I was thinking about how you helped me in 6th grade when somebody tripped me and I felt so low. I'm so glad that you were there as my friend. Just thinking about you, Angie, and put it in. I'm weird because I'm a little woo-woo. I do believe that what we put into the universe will pay us back. But just think how amazing that would be if you got that card. You thought, oh my gosh, I had no idea that I mattered to her. Anything. And I do feel really strong about the gratitude. If you can start that morning with one gratitude text to somebody who made an impact even yesterday in your life, there's a weird energy that happens. It's really good. So there's lots of different things, but your secret will be those. The reason, do you know why 200 is the secret sauce? Why they have you do this is all systematic. They are all models here. Like, okay, the red book, MREA, Millionaire Real Estate Agent. There's copies up front if you don't have one. It's kind of boring, but really good. I'll add it to my list. MREA. Well, Gary Keller in this, he did a research project on the most successful real estate agents. And what he found is that for every 2 people that you have in your database, for every 12 people you have in your database that you systematically communicate to 36 times in a year, you will close 2 transactions. So for 12 people, you will get 2 transactions. One of them will be a regular, like somebody from your database, and one will be a referral. And so if we go and we take 200, let's see if I can figure out how to do the math on this. I don't know how many that gets you, but there's a mathematical equation that 200, if you have 200 in your database, you are like guaranteed to make your 100K. Like guaranteed. It'd be hard not to. Now, the problem is I just said you had to communicate 36 times for a year. How long have you been in the business?
1 day.
1 day. So you can't put 200 people in there and think you're going to get this result. You have not touched them 36 times. That's why open houses are the gift of the gods, because they are going to supplement you while you build this. Okay, because you won't experience this result the first year, but you will next year on this day, right? If you've done the work, then year 2 is freaking phenomenal. And I can cut it every time. I can do my transactions backwards, and this number really works. So I actually find that I do more, mine's not 12 to 2. It is, I'm more like Mine's more like, I want to say, I'll have to do the math for this last year. I want to say 10-2, but it's not 50-50. It is more like 80-20. I do almost all of my business direct and not as many referrals. So it's almost all repeat referral. And if I had to do it, it is not my top 50 people are the ones that I'm doing transaction after transaction after transaction with, whether it's them, their kids really close, or we're helping them grow and build wealth. So it's investment 1, investment 2, investment 3, investment 4. Last year with our dentist, my husband's been trying to get him to come to our classes over and over, right? For the last 5 years, 10 years. He was my husband's dentist when I was a little kid. My husband broke his tooth the day before our wedding and he came in and fixed it for our wedding. Oh gosh. 21 years ago. Well, we're just dumb kids. My husband's a construction worker. I work at a restaurant. I can't figure out what we're doing and how we're making money. Finally, he's like, will you just please come to one of our classes? So we get the dentist there a year and a half ago. And he was like, oh my gosh, this is a good class. My kids need to come. Well, last year he closed on his first investment property and all 5 kids purchased homes because they realized how important it was that they got their, they had to buy their first house. They had to get into real estate and he just bought his second investment property. So like, that's where you just start to like build those reviews, relationships, referrals. Now reviews, you can ask for at any time during the transaction, but try to do it during a win. Maybe you just got your appraisal back and it came back $10,000 higher than you're under contract. That's a great time to ask for a review. You just negotiated a new roof. You just, whatever it was, you just went under contract and it was multiple offers. You can ask for a review. Be like, you know what? I know, like, whether they may or may not know you're new. If they know you're new, it's okay. Be like, hey, will you help me out? I'm trying to improve my online presence. Will you go on Google and leave me a review? There's a link from Google that I share. I've heard recently that if you share that link, it doesn't acknowledge it, but I think it's only if you have like massive, like 300 reviews come through in a day. Because mine all show up and I don't know. I think it's fine. But a lot of times I might not even close a deal with someone. If they're a new buyer and we took them out, we gave them a good buyer consult and we took them out and they decide to change their mind and they're not ready to buy. I'm like, thank you so much. We appreciate the opportunity to serve you. Would you mind doing me a favor and doing a review on Google and sharing your experience with others? And so they're likely to, because they feel guilty. They took my time. They'll do a review for me. Your online presence is actually really important. You guys can take one day and make it look like you've been in real estate a long time. Make sure that you just get some of the basics set up. Get your profile on Zillow. Is Trulia still a thing? I don't know. Realtor.com, LinkedIn, and Google. Like, get some of these basics. Get a basic Facebook page. Get the places so that when they Google you, if I was to Google your name, what's going to come up? We want your name to come up so you look like you've been doing it a while. The next thing is get an email signature. And any place you can put a picture, do. Get on the MLS and put your dang picture on there. I want to know who I'm doing business with. And so does everybody else. Make it like you can take one day and do those things. And you know who can help you? Hunter. He's great. He's the technology guy. Take the time to do that. Get a Google page set up so that you can start to get Google reviews and then just share. And people, you can ask people you haven't done business with, but that who know you or have done business with you in another capacity and say, hey, I'm trying to build my online presence. Would you mind just doing a quick Google review about what your experience with me is? We're not asking them to lie, but if they already know you're a hard freaking worker and you're going to go out and hustle, then put that. Even if you don't do it on Google, the number one most important thing in your buyer packet is going to be reviews. Like, everybody gets so worried about the steps being all perfect and having all the right graphics. The number one most important thing you can have on there is testimonials or reviews. Even if it is you're brand new, go to your old boss and say, boss, please help me. I'm just trying to get my presence put together. Would you mind doing a review for me? And just have them write it and you put it into your buyer packet or whatever. Any questions on that? You guys feel good? Ahas, we should have had a couple of those. I felt like we should have braked for those in between. I need ahas from everybody quickly, CNN version. One thing, actually, I'm gonna skip because there's another line. Hang on. You guys get this slideshow. The list of the questions you're supposed to ask is there, but there is an aha page here that's the most important. I want it because we're almost done with times. Oh no. It's like, what are you gonna do? Ahas. I like it. So I gotta find that page. Ah, there we go. I want an aha. So we'll share ahas, but then I want you to think, how has your thinking changed? So as you come up with your aha, how has your thinking changed? Was there a mindset thing? How do you feel about it? And what actions will you take today? What tools or systems do you need? Like, let's actually get ahas that matter, that are going to impact your business. I guess maybe I should ask you guys know what ahas are, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Not.
Look it in.
What's that?
I don't know how's the like achievement I won. Or no.
It's like, I didn't know that. Yeah, that's why you have to ask, because
Yeah.
Keller has some weird,
Yeah.
KW's
Yeah.
weird. She's kind of, yeah.
Okay.
And you stayed all morning. I just realized she was just coming for fun from Real Advantage.
I enjoy listening to you.
Thanks.
It's good. I mean, like, why not? You can all, I've been doing it for a while, and if you can learn more.
Amen. And knowledge is something no one can take from you. It's incredibly valuable.
Okay,
Jim,
I have tons of ahas, like everything you said is an aha to me today for some reason, even though I've been in. for
You were-
a couple years.
because that's the
But-
pieces that sometimes we're not ready to hear it yet.
Yeah, I mean, so the last aha, which is the closest, well, the first is the 90-day cycle. Don't get discouraged. What you do today is gonna be 90 days. That's not new. I heard that before, but it sinks in now, right? Like,
You
don't get
feel it.
discouraged, just keep working and things will come around. But also, I just recently realized how important it is to have a Google business page. Because I have another friend who has a different business and she has built her reviews and now is getting all kinds of appointments. So what you just said about online presence, that's a big aha, for me.
Do you want accountability around that?
Yes, I've done a Google business page. I've got 5 reviews, but now I'm like, I'm not on Zillow, I'm not on LinkedIn, I'm not on realtor.com. I haven't,
Perfect. So
I
I'm
haven't done
so excited for you to take the picture when it's complete and send it to me.
yes, I
Awesome.
understand. That's perfect.
It is. We need somebody sometimes. That's the challenge of this business is sometimes we're alone but together. But if we don't have
Yes.
somebody who is like, so tell me when.
Okay.
I like it.
Okay.
What's your goal?
I'm by the end, what's today?
Do one this week, at least one. If you
One.
can't get to all of them, do one by Friday and send it to me. But each time you get one done, take a picture and be like, Angie.
Okay. I'm good. And then my hands and hands.
There you go.
I had just a bunch of little things to add to like my prior presentation, communication references that I was writing.
Awesome.
Yeah, for me it was related to expectations, like tell them what to expect. I know that it's important because if not, they're gonna be asking you and feeling that they're all doing all of the job instead of you doing the job for them. But specifically about communications, like saying like if you send me, the way you contact me, I will contact you. Because I had this client that she said, like, you never call me, and I'm like, she always texts me. Why would I call her? Like I understanding that she likes text, so I'm doing text.
Yeah.
But I never set that expectation. So of course, if she worked with another agent in the past and they will always call, she will be expecting that. So I think that's
I thought it was a good
but
script.
very, very important detail.
And honestly became a script. It's just one of those things, like you get used to being like, I communicate this way. Is that going to work for you? And helping. Good. I'm glad.
Since I've just kind of been waiting to get my license, haven't really been diving into it much, but I want to start getting more familiar with all the 3 contracts that you mentioned. So I'm gonna do what you did. and
That's
just
so
read them
smart.
and get more familiar.
Take one and again, the same thing though, your mind will actually read it different if you are reading it, thinking you have to teach it versus just reading it. Anything that we're doing, like you guys would have paid attention differently today if I would have said, okay, I want you guys to know you're teaching this class next week. Your brain changes, right? So that's a very powerful piece of being able to make it stick in your brain. I think that I will encourage them to have a session where we practice those. I think it'd be really valuable. Good. Holly?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I kind of liked what you did right there, because I've never thought about that with their, going to open houses and having more.
Just a little bit of
more stuff to
information.
give people when they're there.
And it's like 1 minute of like,
Totally.
didn't take any time.
And I love how you are pushing, like, get out there and talk and to other people. There's
Mhm.
people that you wouldn't even think, and they don't even know what you do. You
Mhm.
just need to get it out there, talk to people, because
You get your license and you think
Mhm.
everyone's gonna call you.
they don't.
They don't, and it's not their fault.
Yeah, half the time they're like, oh my gosh, I forgot you did that.
And then they came to my open house and I sold it to them
Yeah.
instead.
Yeah.
And it's not their fault.
Totally,
It's not their
totally.
fault.
Yeah.
And so we do have to, like, you do need to stay in relationship with people.
Mhm.
And that's, I do have a lot of like, hey, how's your baby? How's this going? But I do want to send them something that has real estate related. And I'm not usually asking, I'm just sending, and it really will be like, oh my gosh, look at this cute door.
Yeah.
It depends on who's there.
Yeah.
If it's somebody who is investment driven, I'll be like, oh my gosh, check out the price per square foot. This one is awesome.
Mhm.
Like, however that be. So set up those hot sheets though. I feel like that's super, super, super valuable. Do you guys have anything? Do you feel like was it worth today?
Yeah,
Yeah, I also think too, just on your houses, like going to the houses and stuff, and I didn't realize, yeah, they can make money doing this. That's like fantastic.
Like buying and selling?
Well, no, just helping with the open houses.
Oh,
Like, that's brilliant.
there's
You
so
know?
much. The thing is that do you guys want the other secret about open houses? Okay, so as a new agent, you hop on Facebook and you're like, does anybody need an open house done? Okay, the problem is you get whatever anyone gives you. The thing is the person who's gonna ask you to do their open house is somebody who has an upset seller because they overpriced the house, it smells like cat pee, and it's on the market for 45 days, and they got a new agent to hold it open this Saturday so they didn't have to. How you avoid that is instead of going on there, set up a hot sheet, a listing alert for all of the listings that KW agents have. So you were the first person to know about, I have a KW listing one. So you get to see everything that's listed by KW, and you can decide where you would like to do the open house. And you call the agent and say, hey, I just saw your super great listing up in Indian Hills. I would love to hold that open. Do you have anyone scheduled to do it yet? Oh, you were going to do it? Well, if you let me do it, I'll make you a deal. I will give you 25% from anything I close from that open house, and then I'll take care of it for you. Does that, like, see how all of a sudden they were going to do it themselves, or they had somebody else? You get a chance to like, oh, and then you get to decide, I want to hold this open. I learned that because I got listings that I held open in West Valley, because I did the same thing, because you have to learn by making mistakes. So I had to hold open in West Valley. And the problem is it was great because I learned how to put out signs. I learned how to put it on KSL. I learned all this stuff. But then I got buyer leads for West Valley, and I didn't want to work in West Valley. So if you can pick where you want your open houses to be, you can strategically pick buyers in the right area. So that makes a huge difference. And then you can knock doors in that area. You can enjoy that area, and you can be, instead of like, I get there and I'm like, oh, no wonder this is a crappy house. I can't believe I got screwed.
Yeah.
I got to one and I was like, I am $100,000 overpriced. And I was like, no wonder they asked me to do their stupid open house and nobody came. Actually, the neighbors came and they all laughed. They were like, oh my gosh, this house is so overpriced. Isn't that so nice? Like, so that's the secret, is get out and be proactive about it instead of waiting for somebody to say they have an open house they need. The other thing is you can get on the opportunity deal. That one, I think you're going to see people, really engaged people in the office post there. People like Shoney had an awesome open house he posted yesterday on WhatsApp. Are you guys on
Yeah.
WhatsApp yet?
But is there a page called opportunity?
There's different chats that are on, if you're on the KW one, I think you have that.
Opportunities, okay.
You guys help her, cause I'm not very good at
I
it.
just barely got on this.
Oh, it's good. And so I think some of the better things are gonna come through there versus Facebook. So if you can be the first people who are adopting that, I think it's smart. I felt like there was another secret I was gonna tell you guys. That would be my suggestion though. And on your open houses and stuff like that, be intentional about trying to get that.
I think
Then you
I've
get
heard
better
of like
ones.
people doing like, put your like a gift draw, like a card draw. And like as many, like
So,
business
I do
phone numbers
find-
they'll put in there and they'll do a draw.
So
don't know
for
if
me, I do a survey. My survey, it's just 10 questions and I hand them a clipboard. And I didn't give you guys that script, but it has like a $50 Amazon gift card, but we do it for the month.
That's
So we
awesome.
just pick one and do it. But what it is it's feedback for the seller and it does have their name, phone number, email, and if they're working with an agent, what their intent is to buy or when. And then it's like on a scale of 1 to 10, how was the flooring? How was the exterior? How was the other? So it gets some feedback too that's really nice feedback for sellers, especially if we're struggling on conditioner. But if you want that, text me, just let me know. Can I erase this? Everybody texted that wants to text? Awesome. Okay, well, thanks you guys. Today was really fun for me to be here. I really enjoyed the teaching. So I'm kind of funny like that. It brings me a lot of joy. But if you need something, let me know, and I appreciate you guys coming. I feel like I should have made people on Zoom give us a hospital.
Thank you.
Thank you. I can't quite tell, because we have all of our crazy pictures.
Yeah. You couldn't even tell who it is.
KW Westfield Education, so that's probably, there's 2 of those, one of us and probably Ritz. Victoria